Hello there, thanks for joining us. In this video, we're going to be talking about what you need to do if you are a Canadian permanent resident who is outside of Canada and your permanent residency card has expired. How do you get back into Canada, or can you get back into Canada? We'll have much more information on this after the break. As always, remember to hit the subscribe button and to check us out on our website at go.gooselaw.com. Welcome back. My name is Donovan Francis and I'm a Canadian immigration lawyer, and I help skilled workers inside Canada and outside Canada to become Canadian permanent residents without having to deal with all of the complicated legal forms that are part of that process. Canadian permanent residents are required to renew their permanent residency card every 5 years. So your card, when you become a Canadian permanent resident, you're issued a card which has a 5-year expiry date. It's important to note that while your permanent residency card can expire and does expire, generally speaking, after every 5 years, your status as a Canadian permanent resident does not change. Your status remains a Canadian permanent resident even when your card has expired. However, the Canadian permanent residency card is important in situations where you have traveled outside Canada and you need to return to Canada. If you're a Canadian permanent resident, then and you're planning to fly back to Canada, or you're planning to travel to Canada by public transportation, then you're going to be required to show a valid, that is an unexpired permanent residency card. But what happens if you've been outside of Canada for a while and your PR card has expired, or if you left Canada without realizing that your permanent residency card has expired? What do you do? In those situations, because it is a requirement, if you intend to return to Canada by air, if you intend to fly to Canada, or if you intend to travel by train or bus or any other form of public transportation, you will be required to show a valid PR card. And so in situations where you are unable to provide that, you will have to apply for what's called a PR travel document, a permanent residency travel document, or a PRTD. And this is something you'd be applying for outside of Canada. And it is only after receiving this PRTD that you then would be able to fly back to Canada or to travel to Canada by public transportation. If you are in the United States when this happens, for instance, then you have the option of entering Canada by a private vehicle, by your own vehicle, and be eligible to re-enter Canada without that PR card. Mind you, you will have to present other forms of identification to show, to convince the Canadian immigration officers that you are who you say you are. But you may be able to enter Canada in a private vehicle through one of the land borders without your PR card. But except for that particular situation, you will require a PRTD where your Canadian PR card has expired. One important thing to note is that you do not want to apply for your PRTD where you have not been living, where you've not been physically living in Canada for at least 2 years. That's 730 days within the last 5-year period. So Canada's immigration rules require permanent residents to meet what's called a residency requirement. So you must have been in Canada for at least 2 years within the last 5 years in order to maintain your status as a permanent resident. And so if you are going to be applying for a PRTD, you want to ensure before applying that you have in fact been physically in Canada for at least 730 days within the last 5-year period. Failure to meet this requirement will likely lead to an officer or the officers moving an action to have your status as a permanent resident revoked if you go ahead and apply for PRTD. So the way the revocation of status works is that you do not lose your status as a Canadian permanent resident automatically, but rather the process has to be started by the immigration authorities against you. And by applying for a PRTD, you would have triggered the process by alerting the immigration authorities to the fact that you have not met the minimum residency requirement. And so again, while the PRTD is a great option for persons who are stranded outside of Canada with an expired PR card, it is very important that you ensure before applying for your PRTD that you would have met the minimum residency requirement of 730 days within Canada in the last 5 days. And so I hope you found value from this video, and as always, do remember to hit the subscribe button and to check us out on our website at go.gooselaw.com.